Don't start shit if you ain't ready to get hit.
Well, allow me to drop some knowledge.
We have to disagree. I saw the Sailor Moon outfit.
I'm sorry. Oh boy, we're having tough times today. Good? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You went out
Alright.
for us, but I can hear you.
Yeah, the fucking, I don't know, fucking Instagram on a shit today.
I know. It's like that. We were just about to get into it too.
Okay. I know, I hate when it always happens like that. It'll stop working at the time where it's just
Right.
Can you hear me?
Here we are.
Okay, yeah.
Much better.
Okay.
So Megan, I think I just shared the intro. Anyway, Megan, go ahead.
Oh, the pro-life pro. From my understanding, this is what's happening with the pro-life, pro-choice. You know, they've been trying to eliminate abortion for a while. I really do think the topic is resurfacing now because the Plan B pill, they're now trying to take it away from pharmacies. Because you remember when it first came out, you could get it for free. But of course you had to show your ID because the Plan B is not a means of birth control. It really was actually intended for if a woman was raped and her rapist did not use a condom. That's what it really was intended for. So once it started to become public consumption, that's the way you can get it at your, wherever you live, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, whatever. Then when they noticed, okay, this is getting too much, we need to start charging. Maybe that'll change. The pricing of it hasn't changed it. So I do think now that that's on the table that, you know what, we got to take away this altogether. That's why the pro-life, pro-choice situation is starting to come up.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that about the Plan B pill. Thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah.
So you could continue on to how you actually feel about this whole topic. What side are you on and why?
Honestly, I'm on the side of the woman. You have to, at the end of the day, you can have the best partner in the world, but anything can happen. God forbid they pass away. God forbid, you guys break up. Or worst case scenario, especially with modern testing that we have today, what if you find out that something is wrong with your child? Not everyone is equipped to take care of a disabled child. And disabilities can be a broad range. It could be something as what we deem small, deaf, or blind to compare to this person is going to be a trachea their entire life, never be able to walk. You know what I'm saying? So it honestly, it depends on the person. It does, because you are going to be the caretaker of this child. So it honestly has to depend on the mother of the child.
Okay, so let me ask you, if said person feels like, honestly, I'm not equipped to do this, and
Mhm.
I don't feel like I should carry the baby full term. Some
Mhm.
people might say, "Oh, you should carry it. You can give it to, you can have it adopted or go through that process." Um, but the person doesn't want to do that.
Mhm.
How do
We
you feel about that?
we've all heard horror stories about adoption agencies and DFACS and CPS. We've all heard horror stories, whether it's been on Law and Order SVU or we've known somebody we went to school with, a friend or a family member that has been through that situation. So even putting a child up for adoption, how long will the child be up for adoption? Because, yeah, granted, babies are easier to adopt because they're babies. But then you got to think about it. Okay, what's that saying? Nature versus nurture. You're
Yeah.
getting literally a roll of the dice. When you get an adoption, you don't know. And not all the time the parents are honest about their background, especially what if the mother doesn't really know the father? Or the
That's true.
father lied the entire time. She can only be able to put her background. And we don't really know her background, where she comes from. So who's to say both parents don't even know their own background?
Right. What do you think, Eric?
I first want to say before I elaborate or go any further, I first want to say thank the both of you ladies for even allowing me into the conversation, considering my reproductive organ is the one that.
I love having a male's perspective.
Yeah, and my reproductive organ is not getting regulated here, so. Just the fact of having a man's perspective, I truly appreciate it. I really like that Megan brought up that aspect of adoption because my mother, and just to be real quick with this story, my mother
Take your time.
took in three of my cousins at a younger age, and they were about to be put in a foster home and separated.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, who was already taking care of me and my sister by herself, said, I can't allow that. Like, I'll take them in. And you do not find those type of hearts often. I won't say often because I don't know the statistics, but you're not going to find that many hearts in the foster care system. You're going to find a lot of those people who are literally in it for the check.
Yeah.
So Megan absolutely made a very valuable point in that. I come from the perspective of I grew up in a Christian home, and so a lot of the what I was taught, and I was brought up in a predominantly white church. So I was brought up under the indoctrination of abortion is completely, illegal. It's wrong, and that was like the hard line.
Guys, I'm here. Keep going, but just give me a minute, okay?
Okay. And so, learning that, and then me getting older and maturing and coming to the realization of that is such an archaic way of thinking. And when you think about the issue of abortion now, it should have stopped being a moral conversation a long time ago. Because science has evolved. It's now no longer a matter of a woman just wanted to be promiscuous and, I'm saying, oh, well, I'll just have an abortion to get rid of the problem. It's so archaic and ridiculous way of thinking now. And a lot of that thinking comes from the white evangelical church.
Yeah.
That's where this whole argument started from the beginning. And that's where my issue stands with the whole thing is, if our government is supposed to be set on a separation of church and state, tell me, how is it possible that a ruling that the majority of Americans are okay with, how is it this small contingency of people have been able to infiltrate our government And over the long game, because this really hasn't been, they've vowed since Roe v. Wade was put in place,
Mhm.
the anti-abortion crowd had vowed they were willing to play the long game
Yeah.
to go ahead and make sure that it was put back in place. And I could be wrong, and I'm not a journalist, but Brett Kavanaugh to me was the nail in the coffin. And that's why they push, and that's why I think they pushed so hard to put him in office after RBJ passed away. And I really think that's the ultimate slap in her face,
Yeah.
in her, in her legacy and everything that she fought for
Yeah.
on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. But this is the one thing that is a question mark for me. Why are some people fighting it so hard that they're willing to die for it? Like, you have people like standing outside abortion clinics and OBGYN offices, like willing to die for this. And it never hits you until it hit home. So look, it's called life for a reason. You never know what could happen to you. The same chick that's putting her life on the line for this, she could have a daughter that come to her the next day, Mom, I'm pregnant, and she's 15. You gonna want her to carry that full time? So that's what I'm saying. You gotta be careful. It's one thing to stand for something, but don't stand for something that you're gonna die for it too, because you don't know what can happen. Life is a gamble. Life is a risk. You don't know what can happen. It's unpredictable.
I feel like people don't, look or put the other shoe, put the shoe on the other foot, so to speak, because just imagine, all right, like the scenario we said earlier about, a person not wanting the child, and if they were forced to carry the child full term, you're not thinking about what that woman's body is going through.
Exactly.
You're not thinking how difficult it would be to carry them full term. See them come out and know that you have to give it away. None of that is easy, and nobody thinks about that. And piggybacking off of the whole foster care thing, I know so many people who were in the system who got abused, who went through house to house to house to house to house, situation to situation to situation, and have all this PTSD and all these other mental issues because of what they went through.
Yeah.
Because they were adopted. Not saying that there's no good adoption out there or people don't get, but that's the whole thing. They get lucky. A lot of people aren't what they seem. Yeah, you have to go through a little process in order to adopt, but that process is just as simple as the decision to have your child. Like,
yeah, to piggyback off what he said, like your mother was one of the few that was able to take them all in, because there have been situations where, God, something happened with the mom and she has multiple kids. It is literally a needle in a haystack that you will find somebody that will take all of them. Because you'll have one over here, maybe two over here and two over there, and then they're grown apart. So it is a needle in a haystack. And if you are lucky enough to have somebody that can take all of them, not only to be emotionally and mentally, but financially equipped to do so, it's hard. It's hard to find. So that's a pick of the litter. So your mom is a good one.
It was very rare, especially in that time, because it was the late 90s at that time, and my mom, I live in Virginia, and my mom at the time in the late 90s, she was the only Black woman to work in her department at the city hall in the city that she worked in. And so it's not like she was making an abundance of money. It's not like we were rich or anything. It was literally the matter of my mom was helping determine that my cousins weren't going to be separated, and and she believed in God, so she said, God, make a way, and to her and his credit, it happened, and we all turned out good. So it was like, and even to go back to you know, the abortion aspect, like I even think now, like, as far as my cousins go, that was never an option as far as I know. But I think back now, like, just how great, like, all of us as siblings turned out. Like, what if something had happened and, you know, while our parents were pregnant our parents were pregnant with us, and it came down to a decision of if she, you know what I'm saying, it was either her or the baby, you know what I'm saying? And let's just say early on, we found out before. Let's forget the whole heartbeat argument. Let's get that out of the way. If she didn't, if the abortion wasn't optional, essentially it would just be like, okay, well, there's nothing we can do for you. We're gonna send you home to die. And if that's the line of thinking that we're having now as a country, because that's essentially what we're doing when we're getting rid of abortion. We're not even thinking about the aspect of it's not just a matter of a woman doesn't want a baby. There's matters of miscarriages. As a matter of fact, there's this quote. Sarah Prager. She says she's a professor of obstetrics and gynecology at the University of Washington in Seattle and an expert on early pregnancy loss. She said the challenge is that the treatment for an abortion and the treatment for a miscarriage is exactly the same. What the pro-life people are not putting into account is the fact of there are married women who believe in God, that believe in God, did it the right way, had got married, had kids, now have her first child, and she had a miscarriage. If the treatment for an abortion is the exact same as a miscarriage, what foothold have you now put yourself in that you have fought so hard to get rid of abortion, and now the procedure for an abortion is the exact same thing that you need to keep yourself alive?
Yeah,
that's what I don't get from the pro-life women. That's what I don't get from their perspective.
Because you still have to have an operation to remove it. Because if not, then it's going to kill them all. And they're not understanding the like, if y'all want to talk about the money of those women getting help when that happens. If you guys really want to put money towards something, give the women the help for that. Because there are some women who, I can't speak for all communities, but I know in mine, we look down upon seeing a psychologist. We do. Yes, you can pray about it, but you can also pray that God send you to the right psychologist. Seeing a third party without a dog in the fight is the best thing for you. So if you guys want to petition about putting up some money, put some money up for that. So these women can be able to get back in their psyche, because how many if nobody understands, a rainbow baby is basically if you have a miscarriage and you have a baby right after. So there are a lot of women who can't deal with that. And that's sometimes their mindset. Well, if I hurry up and get pregnant again, I can forget about the miscarriage. And that's not it. You got to get help first. So if you want to put your money into something, put money in these women seeing a psychologist for a good solid 3 to 6 months.
Right.
Charlamagne, the guy says it the best. Invest in your mental wealth.
Yes, you have to.
By all means, I'm not trying to say that I should have never been born, but being from my side of the tracks, I definitely look at it another way, and that is, the children, whose parents are not ready to be parents. A great big chunk of the era of 80s babies like myself, the parents we had, the generation before that, it was a very much heavy drug era. My mother did fall into that category. And, growing up, I was raised by the streets. And I had a really fucking tough life. And to think about something like this, like if a woman wasn't able to have her choice, it's happened. But just imagine the life of a drug addict,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say heroin or crack, one of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be forced. Imagine them having to be forced to have the child that they get pregnant with, because most of them are into prostitution.
Because
So
they need
they
the money for drugs.
really, they just happen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, of the nature of their work. And hey, I don't have a choice. I gotta have this baby. So fuck it if we bring a child into this life, having to be born with drugs in their system, having to deal with the repercussions of not having that parent,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever situation they gotta. So many stories of children dying in the homes of these type of parents.
Mm-hmm.
But no, all of that is okay as long as there's, you know, we don't have a choice. As
Yeah.
long as it's whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're already populated, have so many children in the system not receiving help,
True.
growing up to be on these streets and be part of the problem that we have in everyday society.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's okay, right?
Yeah, because we don't want the streets to raise your kids. Like, ooh, those are the worst parents. Those are the worst parents because they really don't give a damn about you. You don't want that to happen. But you're right. That was our parents. My situation is different. Like, my mom and her dad, my mom with her, my grandparents, they were together until he passed away. And back in those days with our grandparents, you know, they would get married out of high school.
Mhm.
Probably not even before graduating high school. But then at those times too, you know, if you had to work at home, you had to quit. So you had kids who had to become adults. So my mom was on, I think she was like 18, 19. And then my mom was like 26 and she had me. So the times have changed, yes, and I did look what somebody said, like, you know, they're trying to make it seem like a miscarriage is a murder. But let's say this. Take a miscarriage away. You don't think there are other ways that people wouldn't think of to get rid of a child?
Say that.
Like,
This is
take
how bad it
abortion
is.
out of
When
it.
you said that, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You don't think people are gonna find a way to get rid of the child? I'll never forget. I was in high school. I had to get something out of CVS. I saw a classmate of mine. She had like 4 bottles of citrate. Now, y'all know citrate is that stuff that's in a green bottle. And it tastes like nasty Sprite. And you're only supposed to drink that when you're having like endoscopy or endoscopy. She had 4 bottles.
And oh my God.
Yeah. She didn't come to school on Monday, so I knew it might have took effect. 4 bottles, and that was at the time where there wasn't a cap. Now there is a cap.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was coat hanger, and I'm like, oh God, I'm definitely a child of the 90s. That was the story that I got.
So yeah, I heard about the coat hanger too.
That will illegalize abortion next month. Now, if they get power again in Congress, they'll kill the filibuster and will make it illegal everywhere, including liberal states.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just imagine what's going to be happening. I mean, because now while it's legal, women are still giving birth and killing their children. We still get the stories of newborns found in garbages and stuff like that. Imagine what's going to happen if it's going to be illegal to get an abortion.
I mean, come on now. They made it legal that you can drop your baby outside a fire station.
It's not okay, but I'm just
But
saying.
it's legal. You can't go to jail.
And let's not give all the credit to the Republicans here.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats had just as much a hand in this because it was Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one Democrat that went across party lines
Mm-hmm.
and voted against it. Susan Collins, you can blame her too, because she was completely ignorant. She was completely ignorant and stood on TV and said, no, I don't think Brett Kavanaugh is going to overturn Roe v. Wade. The last Republican appointed judge to the Supreme Court justice, and now all of a sudden Roe v. Wade is on its way to being overturned.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna blame the Democrats for this.
A
Just
lot
that
of
the
people
entire U.S. government as a whole have failed women.
I can see within this year, I will give it once it's confirmed that it's overturned. If we gonna see a spike, especially if they take away that Plan B, it's gonna be a spike. It's gonna be a spike of women doing something to get rid of it themselves, whether it's a side trade, eating a bunch of spicy food, hell, beating their own down stomach. Or, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like they will ask somebody to kick their stomach so the baby could die. But then you put the point over. Come on, we all remember that case, Ray Carew, where he hired somebody to kill the girl that he was with. He was begging and begging and begging, and she was like, "No, I don't want to do an abortion." She was like her last month. The mother ended up dying, and the son ended up living. So that would be a fight too, that men would want to kill the woman. But then, that whole situation with, some states don't consider a baby a human if it doesn't have a heartbeat. So when you do that, you take away that, you're literally going to make a whole trickle down effect with every single thing that's going to take place from that. So that would be the
start. That's the reason why the government should not be allowed the government should not be allowed in having that argument. That's not their place. That's not their place to have that argument or to try to put a regulation on that. That's for, just like you said, that's a trickle down effect. All of this can really be solved from the top down. Our government, if you really want to be involved with it, make abortion federally protected. Our schools need to get real about sex education and stop bullshitting, because the way even in the 90s and the 2000s, the way they were doing sex ed then was a complete freaking joke. And then it goes down all the way down to the parents. The parents need to be real and talk to your kid and have that real uncomfortable conversation that our parents had, had the same issues with us. And some of us, God knows, really could have used that conversation when we were younger.
But if you want to talk about it the scientific way and the real way.
Exactly.
You got to do both sides. You can't do just one. You got to do both.
And there has to be intellectual integrity in the conversation. You can't twist it and fit it to what makes you comfortable or makes you explain it the easiest way. But the best way is to be clear and to be open. Of course, as a parent, you're gonna give your own style of parenting. But I've seen the parents who have sugar-coated sex ed, and now their 12-year-old daughter is pregnant because they refuse to have a real conversation with her. So like you said, it's a trickle-down effect, and we along with our elected officials, like we all have to do our part in it. But it also has to start at weeding out these people who feel like, because my God says it's illegal, it shouldn't be done. All of you feel like none of you can do it. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. We are
when they say that, because it's like, you do know a sin is a sin. Like, there's no sin is greater than the other. Like, you do know that, right? Like, so I can lie about, no, Mom, I didn't take the $100. Or I go murder somebody. It's the same sin. A sin is a sin. I just murdered. It is, I don't matter. So don't get on your high horse about something like that. Like I said, until it hits home, nobody cares.
Right. And that conversation always falls on deaf ears because most of the people that you're gonna have to talk to don't subscribe in any type of Christianity for real. So to them, you're just talking a fairy tale. That's why I say you got to get real with it. Talk science.
For so long, Roe versus Wade has been considered settled law and an untouchable precedent. So how did we get here? One way is that people who are anti-choice have been so successful is by learning from the lessons of the women's suffrage movement. They needed to take a state-by-state legislative strategy and then focus on the Supreme Court. The pro-choice movement has focused on getting women legislators who support abortion rights into power at the national, but the national legislator is not the level at which those rights are decided. Those rights are decided by the states and then by the Supreme Court because there's no federal legislation related to abortion. So the anti-choice movement has been very successful in going state by state for many years as a way to drum up the support for the party which doesn't have much of a social policy outside of morality politics. And this is why we're dealing with it now. Now, we can look at it from another point of view. What about the women? I want to try to switch it to the men's point of view. So, I don't get accused of being biased. I know I previously put a message out there about this topic, and I was very much it's a woman's body, not a man's concern. But if I'm being totally honest and realistic, I can look at it from the other side of the spectrum. For example, your lady gets pregnant, you're super excited, you want this baby, but she doesn't feel the same. Is it fair for her to get an abortion when you don't support it? By all means, no, it's not. But is it fair for you to put that burden on her and her body in future because you want it and she doesn't? So, what do you guys think?
It's hard to find a right. To me, it's hard to find a right and wrong in that situation because at the end of the day, there's so many preventative measures that you can take before it even gets to that point. But if we're gonna, if we're just gonna look at the you know what I'm saying, the bare question.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, two people are going to do what they want to do, and at the end of the day, everybody has to deal with the consequences. Like when it comes to we all grown, we know how to make babies, we know how to prevent making babies. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to a guy's perspective, I feel like a man at the end of the day, all right, you know, when you just like, I don't care what any man tells you. When you're at that point, yellow swag. You're going in and you have that and you're thinking in your mind, oh, okay, this could happen. This might happen. And that's you at that point. As a man, you got to take that responsibility. If she gets pregnant, well, I could have prevented it. I can't. But now you can't think about yourself because now you have a woman that's carrying your child and she's carrying your child. By society standards, she makes all the decisions. You don't get to say nothing.
And I don't agree with all of them. I don't agree
Yeah, I don't agree with all of it either.
And I've seen it. I know people who are currently still going through shit like that. As far as, you know, after the child's born and all the choices that, I'll be honest, as a mother a lot, often, and it's not there. But
You can use the system, don't abuse it.
before the child even get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't be out here. You can't be out here having a baby as a revenge to the dude because he didn't want to stay with you, and now you're having a baby that your ass know damn well that you can't take care of.
And then you end up mistreating the
And
family.
this is the arguments that they make.
Mm-hmm.
These are the scenarios that the pro-lifers make. That's why I was like, we as people, we have to make better choices. You know what I'm saying, for ourselves. Abortions is not fun. Like there is no abortion land. There's a Disneyland, but there's no abortion land. Nobody's going there to have fun.
Right.
You know?
There's something that I've been saying for fucking years. Because although I love my mom's no longer here, I will always love and respect her as my mother. But she's definitely one of the people who is not ready to have children and she did. And fuck, I just looked and think. What was I gonna say? It was right there.
Yes,
You said that. I was like, wait a minute.
but he's right.
You get that memory, you be like, yes. And then you're thinking about it the whole time you're talking about it, and you get to that point, you're like, shit, what was I saying?
It's basically for like the women that you speak of, who or the people that don't think they through and are like, fuck it, let me just have a child because it's a big fucking responsibility and decision, and I'm just gonna do it for the stupid reason, or because I want to get back in him, or whatever stupid then. Or people, I wholeheartedly believe that there should be some type of test or licensing for you to even become a parent. And if you don't fucking pass that, then you don't have no fucking kids.
Hello.
Because having children is one of the biggest fucking decisions in your life because you are creating something that's gonna be here in the future with or without you. And what's that gonna say for the future? If you're not prepared to fully take care of them or structure them to be a productive member of society, then you should not be having children.
Yeah. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, it's just 18 years. I was 25, I had to have surgery. My mom and my dad still got to talk to each other. So that whole 18 years thing, bullcrap.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all need to stop that. Like, no, it sounds nice, but no. Them two people out there in the room together, something happened to me. He got to bring his wife, and she got to bring whoever she thinks. They got to bring good.
Y'all gonna be staring at each other's face for all the biggest.
Until one of y'all pass away. So y'all got to stop saying that whole 18 years. No. That's a lifetime.
Yeah, and now from the guy's perspective, it's like, yeah, was it worth it? Like, was it worth it? Now you gotta pay $800 something a month in child support because she's salty because you couldn't commit. Now you can't sleep, you can't go do what you want to do, hang out with your homegirl because you want to have a big party, and you want to keep him because you thought it would bring him back and y'all would have a family. Y'all better use y'all sense.
Still off that same topic, women. If you meet a motherfucker and he doesn't take care of the kids that he already got, what makes you think he's gonna take care of yours?
Thank you. What?
I need to know.
I want to know. What do you want with?
Or that a guy that who makes it clear that he does not want this or want to be there, go on forward and expect that to change.
I think it's a violation of that.
When they have the magic box. The magic box will change his mind.
Let me tell y'all something. There's no such thing as a damn magic bullet. Okay? Because at the end of the day, what powers did you possess that you think that you could change a man's life? Nothing. Not a damn thing. And I think it's a true violation when one of y'all have been very vocal about not having kids. And then you still do it.
At that point, you can't blame the man. You cannot blame the man.
I think it's
and if he walk out, morally, okay, he's an
Yeah.
asshole. Morally, he's an asshole because
But
even
y'all,
regardless,
stop believing these women when they say, "Oh, I'm on birth control."
Yeah.
Stop. Stop. If women are caring, I mean, come on now. 20, 30 years ago, a woman was doing the whole, she carried condom. Now, you better. You better. We can be down with society saying, okay, like, okay, well, you going to give me a home? When I get pregnant, are you going to be there? Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You got to do what's best for you. Forget what society thinks. Cause I'm not the person that's going to deem somebody for like to be in with different people. No, be safe about it. It is. Just be safe about it. Be safe. Be upfront. Be honest. Because when you lie to me, you take away my choices.
Exactly. And this era is all about speed. Like people don't wait for shit.
Next 5 minutes.
First of all, sex on the first date, throw that out the window because that's just natural now. That's married really fast. And let me tell you, I don't think you even know a person fully till you're with them at least 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
you ain't never know.
That's the way
You
I see it.
I was waiting for you to say a year.
Get married or do anything before you do not fully know a person. You need to get through not just the honeymoon stage, but the fucking tough time stage. The we've been through this shit stage. Before you
the flu, Ebola, hell, COVID, they need to see you through. Dr. Phil said that too. It's just like, if you ain't seen your partner go through the flu, bronchitis, pneumonia, they've almost thrown up on you. Y'all don't need to get married.
You really need to
go for that.
Marriage is another
some shit.
Yeah.
And when you put marriage and children together, that's a whole nother fucking ball game.
Yes.
Especially with the law. The law deems
the divorce rate is so high.
It's so high. But divorce rate is so high because you got two people who, I'm not going to say all, you have two people who may not even really know each other. They know each other surface level. Like, they don't be finding out stuff about each other until, like, after the marriage or the first kid. Like, you need to be knowing things about this person's background, especially if they were adopted. You know, addiction runs in the family. You know how many episodes of Intervention I watch, and I want to know, how did we get here? And then when you see that addiction runs in the family, as far as like the mom or the dad, and then let's say your partner, addiction runs in their family. Or let's say something could be so small as my mom and dad both suffer from migraine. That means I have migraine. But that means brain aneurysm. I just had a neighbor pass away from one. And that's what it is. You're taking two individuals who come from two different backgrounds that are wanting to come together. And then the eyes of the law want to see them as one. But if you want to be one, you guys need to know one another before you call yourself procreating and bringing people on this earth. So that's why the divorce rate is so high. This society is so like fast. They just want to get to it now and don't want to take their time into nurturing it and having it grow. I don't look down upon like if somebody been together 5 years and then they finally decided to get married. No, I kind of think they did the right thing. Because 6 months, we're engaged. Wait, what? Y'all don't know each other. Do y'all know each other's last name?
At this point, I'm like, what do you even care if the government knows y'all together? What do you need to get married for?
You need to know this person's social security number, and you want to get married to somebody. Like, it needs to be that far. Like,
I'm
and I
gonna
mean about us.
I'm gonna get 100% funky with you. I always do. The goddess talks from experience. I have been naive in the past. I've been this stupid person. I've been through all that. So I can tell you firsthand, not just me saying because that's my feeling from experience.
Yeah.
Like,
We all been through that, especially if it's your first.
you know, like you said, society, it is a societal pressure.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people in their own families, once they hit 30, it's like, oh, but when you gonna have kids or get married? Like, calm
Yes.
down. This is what we need to normalize, not giving people the pressures of you need to do this by this time, or this is how your life has to be. As far as having children and getting married, there should be none of those pressures.
No, it shouldn't be. You have to do what's best for you. That's all.
Don't ask a woman because she's over 30, why haven't you had kids yet? Mind your fucking business, first of all. Second of all,
Why do you care? That's a guy.
and think about your career before that. Because you want if you're going to have children, you want them to have everything, not only have everything, but have all the knowledge and wisdom that they need for me when they're older. Because that's
Exactly.
all these
You
people.
meet a woman in your 30s, do not ask her why she don't have
sorry,
kids.
You're not even a grown up from 20 to 25 yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because you can have somebody 40 who just having a baby and he's just as immature as a 20-year-old.
I know that also happens. Of course, there are people older who just
like,
never.
don't. I think, and then when they don't, why she ain't called me, or why I can't speak to him? Because they don't want to have to hear your bullcrap. Well, why you don't have no kids? So when they stop coming to family function and you stop seeing them less and less, then that's it. Because
especially if they don't have the ability to have kids and they just ain't told everybody because they don't want to have that.
Thank you.
And
They
then
don't want to have a hard
why you ain't
conversation.
got kids, and now they depressed for the rest of the goddamn day because you reminded them that they can't have kids. Shut up.
You don't know. But people on this mindset of, I got to speak my mind. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have to speak their mind and they come up missing. So maybe you should just keep your mouth shut.
I'm sorry. How old are you again, Megan?
33.
33. And Eric?
36.
Do you have children?
I have a son. Yeah.
Megan, you don't have children, right?
No.
I am.
She hurry up and say that. Nope.
I'm also Megan, and I do not have children. I'm always going through the
my family is just now starting to act that.
Once I tell them that I don't have children, it's definitely has been a choice. I have went through abortion before, and I made the right choice at the time. The person, it would have been a living hell for my child and myself. I made the right decision.
Yeah.
My mother told me, she always wanted a grandchild for me, but she respected my decision not to make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And get to life. No, it wasn't an easy choice, but is my child here suffering? No.
And that's what people don't.
For me, I made the right choice.
Like, people don't understand. Like, that's not an easy decision to make.
Not by any means.
You have a battle with yourself. Like, that's not an easy decision to make. I know for me, I don't want kids personally because I've had a lot of health issues. I've had 20 surgeries in my entire life. From 2018 to actually this past November, I've had 10.
I'm sorry.
So I wouldn't don't apologize. That's why that's who I am. I am. Just don't apologize. I don't feel sorry for myself. So that's why I don't want to have that hard conversation with my child. Well, Mommy, if you had all these issues and you knew it was a chance I was going to have them, why did you have me? So now I'm taking on the chance of I'm depressed now. My child probably is going to resent me for the rest of my life. And, I don't want to have to explain that situation, especially if I was knowing of it. If it was a situation where I didn't have not one health issue, and then I had a child, hey, my mom was with me. My mom didn't have any health issues. She had me.
I definitely relate to you on that, and I think that a lot of people do make the choice to have a child without considering how the child is going to be brought up, or you know what they'll have to deal with. You should definitely, when you're making that decision to have children, weigh that well. Are they gonna be totally good? Because if not, this is another life you're bringing here.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way I feel today, I don't want to have children now because I'm thinking of a good word. I don't like to use the word hate, but I detest the world that I live in. I don't want to bring children into this at all.
Yeah.
That's just my personal feeling.
Yeah. Because you can protect your child as much as you want to, but once they start going to school and things like that, and you know, if you allow them to hang over such and such's house, because that you remember when we was staying with somebody else, our parents had to meet their parents first. You just didn't go.
Yep.
Right, you just didn't go. Like my mom would have had to know this lady.
That's how it is now, but it wasn't always
now. Like you could just blindly let your child go. Like no, especially if you had a friend and they had brothers.
Go to the store
now. That's such a taboo thing now. Like, yeah, my mom want to talk to your mom because she want to make sure I'm not going to an insane asylum. That's why my mom want to talk to your mom. She want to make back I come back in one piece.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. It's not like that anymore.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Can we get back to those days? Get back to those days.
Yes, I'm gonna leave this off here, guys. Thank you, you know, for your amazing.
Shouts out to you for being bold enough, the man bold enough to come in on here to do it. Because you would have had some news that would have ran.
I was really trying to get a pro-lifer in here, but I couldn't find one.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and I don't take it personally.
Pro-lifers are scared. The pro-life, they know they pissed off. They know they pissed off the pro-choicers, so they're not trying to go in the lines. Maybe Tucker Carlson. You get Tucker Carlson
about this. When I was saying how men don't have a right to say shit, I had some people commenting, talking about, oh, well, you need the sperm, don't you? No shit, Sherlock. We need the sperm. You still, your sperm versus 9 months, that's completely underlined. It bases your part in the process. Okay?
They don't want to make they don't want to admit that the sperm is needed. The particular man they want the man and the sperm is that to a man and the sperm is the same thing. You can't take a man away from the sperm. So it's like even if you do need sperm, you still need the man. So for them, it's like, well, you're devaluing it. I get their perspective because they're from their perspective. Okay, well now you're devaluing me. You only value my sperm. You don't value me as a man. So I could get their perspective from it. But if we're going off intellectual honesty here, if we're keeping it a whole buck, if you are the man, if you are a man that she respects, you know what I'm saying, a man that she respects and she reveres, really nothing for you to worry about at the end of the day anyway. She's gonna pick you, so really just be a man.
And if that's the case, shut out sperm bank. If you want to keep it separate or keep it together, you're gonna keep it separate.
No,
that's sperm bank.
No, because where do y'all think all that money's going? Where do y'all think all that money is going to these sperm banks? Because that's going to be the next thing, engineering and designing your child. Yes, it sounds conspiracy theorist. I get it, but
they're already impregnating robots. They're already doing this.
Okay. Okay.
You're gonna be able to make a full child outside of your body. Just wait on it.
When a man has a child, then I'll be like, okay, this one went too far.
Men are already having children.
Are able to carry a motherfucker, then maybe you could say something. Until then,
I mean,
sorry,
and
sorry.
and I want the video of labor.
Science has gotten so advanced, like, I feel like we as a people ain't even really caught up to our technology yet.
No,
Not at
You
all.
know what I'm
Not
saying? I don't even think we've caught up to it yet, mentally.
and that's just the stuff that we know about because
imagine the stuff we don't know.
We still stuck on giant rubber sex dolls. Like, come on, y'all. They still stuck on that.
They talk and move now.
Yeah, that's the funny thing.
Thank
I'm
you.
not about to have sex with a woman-shaped condom. All right, no.
Thank you guys for being here. You are awesome.
Thank
Eric,
you.
thank you. Eric, definitely welcome back in the future for any other topic.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
being here. Megan, sis,
Yeah.
I love you.
Love
Have a
you.
good rest of your day. We'll see you again soon. My
Okay.
BMF Army, may the force be with y'all. BMF Goddess.
Bye.
Wow.
Take care, y'all.